necessarily need this, but I'll use it. I spent 4 years of my life overseas fighting. I don't understand why we're discussing immigration when it's taking me 3 years to get an appeal for medical care through our VA system. When I have issues, when I filed a contract for my government, it's a two-way contract. When I've fulfilled my obligation, but my government hasn't. Immigration should not be part of this discussion when we have homeless veterans and we have veterans that are going without food. We have children of homeless veterans, and we have it's disgusting what's happening in our VA system. It's disgusting what's happening with our military. I have a daughter that's an E2 that has a child, can't get food stamps, can't get any kind of assistance because they say she makes too much money. But yet, you hear people say all the time that brag about how much money they make because they have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kids that are on entitlements. That's not entitlements. The system that we have right now is broke, it's corrupt, it has to be changed. And it is all tied together. This entitlement system has got to be regulated, it's got to be fixed. The VA system, my mind's scattered. I got to refocus.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine.
I've heard that during the Trump visit with the VFW and that also during the Hillary visit that by the end of the year that the doctors will be and that the veterans will be given a 5-day appointment time frame. If that's the case, then why does it take 3 years to get an appeal to go through? Why does it take 4 years to get an appeal to go through? If the VA system is so streamlined and it works so great, then how come we have veterans that are dying?
First of all, thank you for your service to our country. Secondly, make sure, Emmett, you've got his information, okay? I know we've been helping you and we'll continue to help you. You've never heard me say that the VA system's working well.
Sir, I sat here at your last meeting and asked, what is your plan to help homeless veterans? I stated that heat kills and after that the cold. We need action on this, not plans. I pleaded my own case on how the VA has put me through hell and how after years of waiting and appeals, I asked for your office's assistance. Unfortunately, we got an email reply in February of 2015 that did nothing. Veterans need you to take action now. We need your personal assistance to speak to Director Bociccio, Director of the VA here in Georgia, and make it known that this is a priority. We need you, our representative, to ensure that Amy Thompson, Voc Rehab Director, is doing everything she can to make sure veterans receive not anything more or less than the law allows. We veterans are not infirmed because of choice, but because of our service. And when our elected officials choose not to execute their promises to the fullest extent of their capabilities, it proves what we feel every day, that we are useless, cast aside, because we have no worth. Feelings of suicide is not only because of hopelessness, but because, in my opinion, the feeling of no self-worth. You do not carry an umbrella all the time in case of rain. But when it rains, when the rain comes, you have faith that it will keep you dry and that it's strong enough to deflect the wind. If we continue to treat our veterans, military, our warriors with less respect than we treat our umbrellas, we will find when the storms of tyranny and oppression arise, we will have a broken, weak, and punctured military, and it will be our folly for not showing respect for what keeps us safe.
Thank you for your service to our country as well. And we got him as well. Okay. Okay. Who else? We got one.
No more bashing the VA on this one. We've allowed this administration to rule by pen, and we've got to stop this. He is not a dictator in chief. My business is in the firearms industry. Recently, he has ruled that firearms manufacturers have to sign up for a program called DDCHP ITARS. Stands for International Taxation and Arms Regulation. Basically, if you import and export firearms overseas, then you have to sign up for a tax. What that has to do with anything is this. As an individual, any of you folks out here in the crowd, if you decide that you want to thread a barrel in your garage, or if you want to increase the accuracy of a firearm, and you do it, and you get caught doing it, you are subject to a $2,500 tax that is now payable to the federal government. And Obama just signed that into law by executive order. And that is ruled by dictatorship. And that is unconstitutional. It did not go through Congress. I get hit by that. That becomes part of my overhead. Back when Zell Miller was governor of the state of Georgia and the Clintons were in office, they passed what was called the Brady Bill. Zell Miller stood up to the federal government and said, Zell, no, we won't do it. And when the federal government stepped in and said if you had high-capacity magazines, Zell Miller said if you are going to enforce that law in the state of Georgia, I will pardon any person that is caught with any high-capacity magazines. I don't understand why the governor of the state of Georgia can't step up and protect the small business owners and the constituents of the state of Georgia under the same premise. Maybe that's something you can bring up, and I know that's a different
Sure.
course of action.
That's okay.
But why can't we protect the state of Georgia and the constituents of the state of Georgia under the same premise?
Right. That's good. Thank you. I suspect we don't have any Second Amendment supporters in this room. You know, there's a big push right now for gun control, and particularly in Congress. My point is this. It is not the object in the hand, it's the ideology in the head. You know, we get distracted about what the big problem is. No, it's not guns. It's the problem, and what we need to be focusing on is the ideology. And some of these people who have problems. That is the problem. So, and you're exactly right, and that brings up our point about the Constitution. You talk about executive overreach, no better example than what you're talking about right here. And listen, we've already sued this guy as president twice and won both times, and we'll sue him again if we have to. The Supreme Court ruled in our favor on him using money, on using the fees from immigration to help illegal immigrants. We made him stop doing that. We had to go to the Supreme Court to do it, but we won that case. And we'll continue to sue him when we have to. We've got to get the balance of power back. We have got to get it to where your elected officials are making decisions and having an impact on what happens in our federal government.